You have selected Shuffle.
Welcome to the Shufflepod. I'm Woody.
Hey, I'm George.
I'm DJ.
And I am Jeff.
Oh man, guys! So yesterday I was out at this new restaurant. I loved it. It was fantastic. It's in Medina. It's called Twisted, and it's burgers and sushi. And I already called George and told him he's gotta go with me. We gotta get together and go try this out. It's absolutely everything DJ hates.
It sounds. See, I don't eat beef as much anymore because my
What?
child's a vegetarian, and my wife only eats fish or fowl. So anything with fur she doesn't eat, including beaver. And so no, I don't get out to like eat burgers as much as I'd like, and so I think it's going to be pretty sweet.
It was great. DJ called me about halfway through my meal, and I was talking to him. He's like, "Can I ask you a question? Would you go out with me?" And I'm like, "Yes."
I didn't say
He had
go
something
out
in
with
mind,
me.
and yeah,
I
he
said
did.
go with me.
Oh, go with me. I heard go out with me. I guess I heard what I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you did. You big queer.
Oh, but yeah, it was really really good. I gotta highly recommend it. So what have you guys been up to?
Well, I got a quick question about this restaurant.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Are you still going out to eat just like normal?
Yes.
Yeah,
Are you?
Yes.
TJ,
I
I've had
don't.
I don't.
the virus.
Yeah. He's had it. so it
I'm
doesn't matter.
immune
He can go to
for I'm immune for 7 months, at least.
I heard it was 3 months.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay.
I'm going to bathhouses.
I mean, the science
'Cause
isn't
warm
back on
air
any of
and-
that stuff. So.
Warm air, warm water, and hot semen doesn't spread the.
It's that soup. It's impenetrable.
No, I've done a lot of research looking into this because we're going to we have a vacation planned in April for Orlando, and I mean before we did that, I really looked into this. There's only been a very very few number of cases of people that have caught the virus twice, from what I understand, and now this is all just stuff that I've read. I'm no doctor. I'm not trying to tell people how to live their lives, but from what
Was it on WebMD or where you been doing your research? Doogie?
it was like a lot of like New York Times.
Oh, because they're not biased.
well, not about that. I mean,
Times is-
what would be?
Times is legit.
They publish.
You know, it,
I'm sorry. They publish research though, and you can go follow those links. I've done the same thing. You can go
Yeah.
into the different researches.
but from what I understand, I feel pretty safe for my family right now.
Well, I'm not talking about for your family. How long could you carry it and spread it?
Okay,
That's what I'm
AIDS.
talking about.
AIDS dies after 7 years.
I really wanted to stay away. I mean, it's not like we're monetized anyway, so I guess it doesn't really fucking matter. So if you are immune to it, like if you've had it, okay, and you've got the antibodies in your system, if I get it from somebody, say somebody has it near me and it gets into my system, the antibodies kill the virus. It doesn't have time to replicate, and so that's why, like when you get sick, it takes a little while for that to build up into your system to where that you are contagious because you're spreading it out. You know, it's not like you get some of the bacteria in your system and you can immediately spit it right back out at somebody.
Well, actually, the way that viruses work traditionally is you shed viruses prior to exhibiting symptoms.
Right. I'm not saying about the symptoms. I'm saying that it takes time for those viruses to replicate in your system enough to where you are shedding the virus. If I get it from somebody, I'm not shedding their virus that they gave me. It has to build up in my system. It has to replicate in my system. So if I've got the antibodies to fight that off, it doesn't have time to replicate, and it just kills it off. I'm not going to be contagious. I don't think, personally, that's my theory on this is I don't think I'm going to be contagious enough to give it to somebody. I mean, we're not being reckless. We're wearing our masks. We're staying away from people. I mean, we are going to restaurants and that, but I mean,
I'm sorry, you're still doing what you're told to do. You know, the safety precautions. You're not just running around maskless, sneezing on people, right?
right. I mean, yeah, we all wear our masks and that. I don't know. I feel safe enough. Yeah. What?
Am I the only one that caught when Woody was talking about how he researches things that he called it bacteria?
Okay, virus. I'm sorry.
Because I saw it in George's eyes.
I missed that. That's funny. Okay.
Not the virus, George. I didn't see the virus in your eyes. I saw the...
Oh no, I know what you saw in my eyes. It was basically bullshit. The guy wants to go out to eat, so let's just call a spade a spade. You just like going out to eat. It is what it is.
I haven't had the
You're a
virus. so I
super
go out.
spreader.
I honestly have. I have looked a lot into like being able to catch it twice. They say it's a very 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 unlikely, like extremely unlikely that you're going to get it twice. A lot of the people that got it twice, they left
to eat.
They yeah.
and ate undercooked fish.
They left their countries and went to an area with a different, like with a slightly different strain of the virus.
Right.
It's not. So I don't know. I personally feel comfortable. Like I said, we're not being crazy.
I have gone out to eat twice during this. Very, very careful, but it's not like, my God, I'm talking twice in. I mean, when did all this start? March.
Right.
We've gone out twice to eat.
Okay, but
So
you order out a lot.
Right.
yeah, but I usually don't leave the car.
So
Okay, but the food is being prepared. There's really no difference. We're not going out to eat with like we're not sitting next to a whole bunch of people that we don't know that that may have the virus or whatever. I don't see the difference in sitting at a table in there as long as you're staying away from people.
Well, the thing, like you said, Woody, the biggest thing that scares you is the uneducated waitresses and cooks that are preparing your food and delivering it.
Right, I'd be more worried about that, and you're going to get that if you order out, and everybody's ordering out.
right.
Notice I said uneducated.
I did notice.
I did too.
Let's say Woody did not say that at all.
No.
He's like, yeah, right. It's
He just agreed to it.
so I can talk him into being a racist any day.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
George is
No,
like
I can't.
them.
So, I think, all right, I'm going to go out to eat with Woody to this Twist. Is it
Twisted?
Twist? Is that what it's called? Twisted?
Twisted, yeah.
Twisted.
With two
So,
eyes.
because I want a burger and I want some sushi. And, yeah, I don't know. I'm nervous about going out to eat. I haven't really done it either. But I just want to go out to eat. I'm hungry. So
I'm fucking starving.
I actually haven't eaten breakfast yet. So I'm going to hold off until 2 weeks from now when we go out to eat. Actually,
Good
truth
call.
be known, I'll put it out here. I planned on canceling like 2 or 3 days prior to going, but right now, count me in.
Gotcha.
So, how is everybody's holiday?
Quarantined.
Yeah, mine was good.
All right. So, let me ask you this before we dive into our main topic. How did you guys celebrate Christmas and stuff, Jeff? Let's go with you first and talk about how you guys celebrated Christmas differently.
Well, we usually, get up and go. Well, mine was a fun Christmas, so I'll make it brief, but I'll give you the details. Usually, we get up, do presents, go to my mom's, have breakfast, whatever. This year, we my stepbrother had earlier family thing where it was just the 3 brothers. My sister's in Florida, so she can't come. 3 brothers and my parents, and we just had like pizza and exchange gifts. Went home.
Oh, so you guys actually got together as a group?
Yep. Because
With no regard for the fucking virus. All right, let's talk to somebody else that actually
All right.
might have done
I'll go
something
next.
different.
The
I'll go
bacteria.
next.
This time.
I
Go
am
ahead,
being very hypocritical about the going out to eat thing because by no control of my own, because I'm just the guy, I just had to kind of go along with everything my mom did and my wife did and my sister did. And it was honestly just normal, just a normal Christmas.
So you guys, what the fuck? There is no.
Well, no, it wasn't. Okay. Normally we have three of my parents' neighbors come over
That's
for
weird.
Christmas. Well, they're all close. And none of that took place this year. It was just family. But yeah, it still wasn't a whole lot different. Like,
So how many people did you have celebrating Christmas at one time?
13, 14. I'm just kidding. Hold on a second.
The magic number is 9 because 10 gets you in trouble.
It was 11.
11.
That was 11. Yeah.
You hear that, DeWine? 11.
That was 11.
He's actually a he's one of the people that's secretly in our Google Meet.
Yes.
You're fucked. So like you two actually just went ahead and
It was
At Christmas
it was
as usual.
11 people
Right.
that we see all the time and have regular exposure to, though.
Right.
It wasn't like 11 people we only see at Christmas.
Right.
Like,
but are you out of those people? Are you the only one that actually leaves the house on a regular basis, goes to work, and is around other people?
my brother-in-law also, but he doesn't, a lot of his job, he's like in landscaping.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of his job is off on his own. So he's not really around people.
Okay, see, that makes sense.
My son's in school. My daughter's not. I'm pretty much the only one. My wife isn't working right now. My sister is everything virtual. She's a teacher, so she doesn't really leave. Yeah, I mean, so really, I mean, I'm the only one that goes to work, and I'm by myself for most of the day. Almost all the day.
Well, I guess that makes sense. And I mean, so your guys' exposure risk was minimal.
Yeah.
You know, what about you, Wood?
We actually, just my little family, my wife, my son, and I, we stayed in separate rooms and threw gifts at each other.
Nice.
Yes.
That's the way to
and
do
then
it.
you all went out to eat.
And then we all went out to eat.
Then they all went to a buffet as a
Right.
giant family gathering.
Right. No, we Christmas Eve we went to my parents' house, but my son spends every day at my parents' house for school. So that was nothing unusual. And my mother-in-law showed up, and that's about it really. It was just, close family that we were always around. So, nothing too unusual.
I ended up being quarantined again for I think it's fourth time. So I was quarantined. We ended up having video, Zoom meeting type thing. We did that. Jamie went to my parents' house, dropped gifts off at 4, and then at 6 o'clock we all met on the Zoom meet. So we did that. But prior to that, Jamie's mom and dad came over and sat in the garage, and her, my daughter and stuff, they all sat out there. I was in the room.
Were you
And
peeking
that's
through the
kind of how
screen
we did
door?
ours. Yeah. I was like, hello.
So you were still quarantined from the last time we had talked on the show?
No, I actually got off for a couple days, and then one of the other girls at work caught it from her brother. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was quarantined, yes, and then I was quarantined again because I got quarantined from the guy that I arrested. Then one of the people at work got it. And then shortly after that, one of the people that I also work with in the same office got it from her brother at Christmas. So I just got off quarantine yesterday.
Wow.
So how does that work with your work? Like, I know everyone wants to be safe and everything, but like, you only have so many people that work there, and you're all kind of close.
Well, not only that, but there's a lot of physical contact with people.
Well, our quarantine's different from because being essential employees, we actually still have to go to work. We're just quarantined when we're out of work because we're immune for the 8 to 12 hours that we're at work.
Right.
We can't.
Yeah,
So
They've done the research.
basically, that was pretty much it. Like I would get if I was quarantined, I was just quarantined from people that I associate with outside of work. I would still go to work and stuff.
That's
So
crazy.
you're labeled essential. I'm labeled essential. Woody is Jeff. You work from home, so does it matter?
No, but I'm essential anyway. I'm not
You
sure
are?
why, but I am.
Yeah,
Because cabinets
how
are
do they
really
justify
important. Because they're still building shit. So as long as they're building stuff, they have to have, casework and cabinets to put into it. So I'm essential. Which,
Okay, I have a follow-up question. Jeff, I mean, I've known you for quite a while.
Yeah.
What do you do? I don't know what you do. I don't know what you do. I know you do things on computers. That's the extent of my knowledge.
I am a product engineer for a casework and millwork company. I've been doing it for 20 years. I build
What?
basically, if it's a piece of furniture that goes into a building, such as a cabinet, an archway, elevator lobbies, anything in a
Midget.
midget, yep, I engineer it and make it happen.
So,
You know,
so
you know those secret.
of,
I'm sorry.
okay, part of your job then is like you have to, let's say an office building wants a big giant cabinet on the 18th floor. You have to get all the dimensions of every single way to possibly get it up there.
Correct.
You have to design it in a way that it can either be assembled up there, or if it has to go up, the
Correct.
biggest it could possibly be and still make all the turns.
Correct.
So you're like the ultimate mover.
Yes. Yes.
So you know how to do the pivot
Yep.
and all
Yeah,
that good stuff.
I just laid out something that was a desk, and I wanted to make sure that they could get it in one piece instead of trying to seam metal cladding because it's a pain in the ass. I'm going, how big is this desk? So I drew it, and I put it on the floor plan, and I physically moved it across the floor plan to see if I could swing it through all the doorways. I'm
Do you
like,
have just like a
one
Barbie
piece.
house?
No, I do it on the computer. That would be
We
awesome.
think he's all high tech. He's just moving stuff up a Barbie house. Oh, I can't
It
move.
works. That works.
But they're all anatomically correct because all his dolls have to have the stuff.
Exactly.
Damn right.
It's like, oh, Barbie's sitting on a chair leg again. No, really, she is. Look,
Okay, so that makes more sense.
Yeah, that's what I do. I've been doing it for years and years.
Oh, that's cool.
But
That's what he says, but he actually designs the hidden spaces that they put drugs into and sneak them across the border.
He probably
he's a
could.
coyote.
you're not supposed to tell him that. That's only on the international buildings. Everything else.
Well, I do know that he designed our logo for whoever
I did
doesn't
do
know
that,
that at this
3D.
point.
I did.
We have
And the microphone that he designed, he had to drag through an office.
I had to
Yes,
make
yes.
sure
Did it
He had
work?
to steal it.
headphones.
No, that's really cool. I didn't know you did that.
Yeah. Yep. Fun.
It's not.
I know what we
It's
all
not
do.
driving truck, but whatever.
You don't drive truck
Everybody's got to make a living. I
You
know.
don't drive truck
I
either,
do,
man.
just not very far. I drive it like a
How often
mile
do you drive a truck now?
every day.
Do you?
Yeah, I go. I'll move trailers around every day.
Huh.
I mean, like I'm driving from the front of the parking lot to the back of the parking lot and putting it in the.
So you move the expired milk out.
No, I'm in the dry warehouse now, so everything's just packaging and that.
Have you ever thought about loading all the expired milk onto a semi?
Yeah, we've done
hitting the interstate,
I've done that.
going
nothing but
88
curdles.
miles an hour, bringing it back in time to be good again.
Oh my God.
Wow.
You just dialed it right in, because right now what we're talking about is the topic today is time travel.
You're welcome.
We can, holy shit, that is so
I'm
good.
like a truck
20
driver.
minutes.
I steered us back on track.
You did good. You designed
Yeah.
that furniture, walked it through a room, loaded it on a truck, and took it, and then registered it straight down as a sex offender. You hit all of our works. No, that's, okay, so for those that have made the 20 minutes here into our Christmas and everything, we're doing time travel today. We're going to revisit a topic that we did way back in the day. I think
Episode
the first
11.
That was
It was that soon.
It was actually our season finale. Remember when we thought we were going to do seasons?
Oh, we were going to do
was-
10 seasons? Or
Right.
11. 11 or 12 shows
Yep.
a season.
Yeah. It was.
So that was back in what, 18?
It's been a while.
17?
Yeah. That was
Yeah.
PG, pre-Jeff.
Yes, it was.
That was
Jeff
well
was
before.
on sometimes.
I showed up a couple times before I came on
Yeah.
permanently, but that was well before me.
Yeah.
So that's okay. So let's talk about time travel. Woody, you came up with this. You wanted to actually sit back, revisit the topic. Tell me why you
Okay.
wanted to revisit it, and then give me your idea.
Okay, basically, I was bored one day and I was going back listening to old shows, and I listened to that show, and it was horrible. We were
Oh, that
we were
that
horrible.
might just be our show.
Well, I think we were still trying
Thank
to find
God
our
we've improved.
yeah. I think we were still trying to find our feet and stuff. We didn't really explain a lot of the things we were talking about, yeah. So I was like, you know what, we need to do this topic justice. We really do, So
It was a lot of DJ going whoosh, 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 whoosh.
It was-
like, God damn it, talk.
Well, I don't know if I mean, to explain the things, we would need a physicist.
Not really. So there was something that really kind of stuck out to me on that show, though, was that fact that George figured out how to actually create time travel.
That's right. How was that? It was like right at the end, and
Yeah.
he accidentally said it.
What it was I'm sure George you can explain, but let me explain it for you.
Thank you. It's those that can't see on the video, I'm giving thumbs up because I'm like, I don't have any fucking clue.
They had discovered that you could send subatomic particles. They theorized that you could send subatomic particles back in time with like a laser array of all these lasers going into one point, and you could send these subatomic particles either back or forward in time. And before that, we had talked about almost like a transporter kind of idea where you break the body down into its individual parts and into data.
Jason Statham
No.
transporter?
Not that.
Or
shit.
No,
Star
like
Trek
Star
transporter.
Trek transporter.
okay.
So where like you bring it into information and then you send that information somewhere and then they rebuild the body. So what George was saying was that you could take that packet of information and send it subatomic particle wise back in time, and then they could rebuild the person. So it almost be like transporting, but transporting back or forward in time.
But
Yeah, it seems simple.
this also brings up the I know we've hit this too with transporting. Does it kill you and build a new you?
Yes. I mean, there's no other way around it. It has
It
to.
rips you apart, sends your information as like a Lego
Right,
instruction
because-
booklet.
It's not. You're not even sending the particles themselves. You're
No.
just sending a data packet.
Yeah, and it reassembles off of new particles.
Correct.
So let me just throw this out here, and Jeff, tell me if I'm right on this for sure. So, in order to believe in time travel, you can't believe in religion because you're basically saying that you're just taking a physical feature, molecular structure of a person, and the whole basis of religion is
The soul.
your soul, ascending to a different level.
Well-
So in order for that, I mean, there's no soul then. Am I correct, Jeff, or am I off?
I'm gonna say this is my opinion, but based on physics and all that kind of stuff and what I know about religion. Sorry, I was too far away.
Nope, you're good.
The way I get it is the soul would be the energy that that is in your body, right? Everybody's got energy. Everything is made up of energy. All religions have some kind of soul. My perspective is your soul is the energy. Well, what Woody's talking about is if you're breaking down those pieces, you are sending the energy as well, because energy cannot be
So it
created
would be
nor
like
destroyed.
in the gland, like
Actually,
in your pituitary gland or something like
Right.
that.
Right.
No,
Woody's
I
saying
don't-
no, but well, you're sending energy through as lasers and particles. The neutrinos.
And this is just
are
one
energy.
way.
Right. And this is just the way I'm based on because this is what we're talking about. So I'm going to
Woody?
say no. You don't have to believe or disbelieve.
Because you're not really. I mean, okay, you're not sending energy though. You're almost. It's almost like DJ. You correct me if I'm wrong here, but protons have no mass. They're just. Oh, you don't know? I thought you would know.
I
this.
don't know that.
Protons are light.
You
He
are
works
wrong.
in a chemical plant.
Subatomic particle that's light. Okay, it has no mass, and so basically like you're sending just. It would be like you're sending like a fax, I mean, just ones and zeros,
but
ons and offs.
Some people do argue that light has mass.
And light
That light
is
particles.
energy.
Yes, that it's both. I
But
do
would
know
that
much.
would that transfer? I mean, you're creating the light.
You can't create energy. You cannot create energy.
No, I'm
Well,
not
you
saying
can create energy. I mean, in
No.
different versions of energy. Rub your feet on the carpet and then
But you're using your muscles.
Right.
to
you're
do
transferring.
Yeah,
you're
you're
changing the
transferring.
state of kinetic
Yeah.
energy into potential energy and things like that. But what I'm talking about is I'm not saying you're creating, but you break something down, okay, and you create a file of that information of who that person is.
that. Let's call
No.
it podcasts.
Okay, and then you're taking that file and you're sending it. So like that energy that you use for that being isn't the file, has nothing to do with the file.
Right, but the file is made up of energy.
Okay, but it's not
So
the same energy.
No, it's not the
It's-
same energy, but I'm saying we're basically breaking down the energy that's part of the person, or the person itself, because everything is energy. Molecules are energy. Everything is energy. All right, when you break it down and realize that everything is made up of energy.
Oh, okay, I
Then
see what you're saying.
you might
The
be just-
information makes up the
Right.
energy.
You're
Yeah.
transferring it into a different state and then sending it and then putting it back into the original state of energy, which
Right.
that might be the key. George, yes, sir.
let me ask you this then. You guys are talking about transferring of energy and everything else. So what then would make the personality of the person? Because you can clone somebody physically and everything, but like there's different versions of, and Woody, I'm going to ask you because there's different versions of like what makes me happy might make DJ uneasy, okay, and stuff like that. There's just different personality quirks and traditions.
Like
So,
steak.
Woody, explain to me how that
Okay.
making a clone of a person takes that person's personality.
This is totally Jeff's idea. I'm coming on board with it, but okay, think about it in a much smaller, like in a 2D kind of way, as opposed to like our 3D world. We're looking at it in a 2D world. So you've got a puzzle, okay, and you put all those pieces of the puzzle together, and not only is it just now a big rectangle of all those pieces, but it shows you a beautiful picture. Okay,
Unless
so
it's of a fat woman or something.
so when you put all those particles,
it might not be that beautiful. That's all I'm saying.
but when you put all those particles back together, when you put all those pieces of the puzzle back together,
To Daryl, it is. He likes that. It's like I said. How can you exchange
Don't body
one
shame.
beauty to another?
That's
Beauty
true.
is in the eye of the beholder.
but I guess what I'm saying is when you put all those pieces back together, maybe just because everybody's different. So when you fit all those pieces back together to make a George, it makes a George. It makes the whole soul and everything. It's
Well, but the thing is, I think that, and obviously none of us are physicists, okay?
Right.
But it seems that version of it, though, is kind of a cop-out, and I'm not saying that yours is, you gave a shit explanation by any means, but it seems like that part is a cop-out because it does take an effort to be who you are,
I guess what I'm trying to say is, it's like that old adage: you're more than the sum of your parts.
Yep.
So when you put all of your parts together, there's that little extra that makes you you. That comes from putting all those parts together.
The only way to really truly prove this would be to teleport somebody, and you would basically see on the other end, do they come out as,
Right.
let's say we teleport George, it rips him apart to the molecular level, gets all the information, sends the information, reassembles him on the other end, and basically, I mean, would he be just a standing drooling vegetable, or would he have all of his thoughts and memories and also be a standing drooling vegetable?
That's true.
Maybe I should have
was
used
back
Woody.
in school, the head of the LD posse, so maybe.
No, but I mean, like,
okay,
Might I offer an explanation?
You wouldn't know, right?
Right.
yeah.
But
go ahead, Jeff.
Going back to the energy thing, what makes us us? What makes an individual an individual? Their thoughts, their feelings, their emotions, which are
Right.
all electrical impulses in the brain.
Electrical
Their soul,
impulses.
essentially.
Right.
Would
Exactly.
that really transfer?
I
Would
don't
all the
know, but
impulses
if you're
transfer?
using energy to transfer energy, you should be able to reassemble it in the same manner that
Okay.
makes you who you are. So,
Hey, you're the
for
only
our-
one with your background with your water stopped,
for
wizard.
I did
so
that.
I'm
I was
gonna
like-
go ahead and believe you.
so for argument's sake and for the sake of the traveling,
I was like, what the fuck is he talking about? He places furniture.
He's sitting on a beach. And he just commanded the waves to
I
freeze.
placed this water where it is right now. I engineered
Oh,
it to
okay.
look that way.
I see that.
But, for argument's sake, just to continue the conversation, let's say that energy transfer includes the mind that makes up the person. Right? Everybody on
Okay.
board with that? I think it's...
Okay.
Now, in the original show, we talked about. I didn't go back and listen, but I do remember the kitchen sink.
You're lucky.
Guy. Remember the kitchen sink guy?
Yes.
He did
you
not
know...
get transported. He might have fallen through like a wormhole.
Right.
Yeah, but I
He
found
also
out.
could be lying.
I found out a little more on that about that guy and what happened with that. That was actually a stunt done by a retirement like equity or annuity company to try and get people to think about their future and their investments for their futures and stuff.
So we got duped by a commercial.
It was absolutely a commercial, yeah.
But there are other
So
stories.
we did a show, and we referenced essentially a commercial.
Yes.
Pretty
So
much, yeah.
Hence another reason why we're redoing this show.
Yeah.
What about the I know this show better than I thought I did. What about the Russian biker? Remember the bicycle
That's the
guy
one
that,
that I
disappeared?
it blows my mind. It does. Jeff,
Yes.
have you ever seen this video, Jeff?
Yep. I
Yeah.
watched it when I listened to the show.
Yeah,
And
I think
I was
he's
yelling
just
at you
off
guys
frame.
through the
Amazing.
thing. I'm like,
Yeah,
he's off
he's
frame with
just
his
he's just off
rolled in.
frame.
If they show you the rest of the video, you could see him probably.
no, they do
50
show you the
times.
rest of the video.
I watched.
I'm sorry,
I know.
no.
I watched it. He's in the in the background somewhere, and it's just forced perspective. I mean, it looks like it was planned so that he would pop out like that. That's my opinion. That's what it looked like to me. Like they were like, "Oh my God, look at this," when the whole time the guy's like hiding behind the rock that was in the background, and then he kind of moved the camera over, and then he jumped out behind the girl where they had put the tape on the ground, and then rolled out. I mean, it's a stage or a theater trick. They do it all the time, and
Was it a theater trick or was it an accident?
I think it was planned. That's just
Well,
my
let me.
opinion.
Okay.
I think it was real.
Here's my thing, and I'll ask this question, and whoever wants to answer it, I guess, just fire your hand up, because I don't know who's going to be the most qualified: the furniture maker, the chemist, or the truck driver.
Well, I'm not a chemist, so
Well, whatever. You mix Windex.
that was my old job.
And
It's
meth.
meth
And I actually did.
No, my thing is okay. So is time travel more of a molecular structure, or is it actually physically going to a different? There's time. You can stretch time and you can move time, and stuff like this. Is it that stuff is being replayed over and over again in this whole feed to where you can go back? Like if you want to physically, you want to go back to 1898. You want to be on the West and be the one that shot Billy the Kid, okay? Or whatever. You want to be Pat Garrett, all right? Can you time travel back, like Quantum Leap, where you are then a member of that Pat Garrett's posse, and you can be the one to shoot Billy the Kid because you have to change something? Or is it... God, I'm losing what I wanted to ask. Woody, go ahead.
All right. I guess... nobody really knows for sure, obviously, but there's a couple of different theories on this. Like a couple of the big problems with time travel that you run into is we're never in the same space in space.
Exactly.
Ever.
The Earth is moving. The galaxy is rotating.
Right. The universe is expanding. We're so if you were to just physically move from this time to this time, you would be out in the middle of space, or you'd be in the middle of a planet or a star, or in the middle of the Earth, or who knows where.
Right.
So
that's always been one of my problems.
Right. That's a big problem with time travel. If and there's also the problem of why haven't we seen any time travelers? Like what was his name in the wheelchair? Hawking's. Didn't he do a time traveler's reception kind of thing?
The party,
yeah. And nobody showed
Baker.
up, and that proved...
Was it? No, it was Baker.
No, I think it was
That
Hawking.
was Hawking.
No, it was Hawking.
Hawking threw a party for time travelers, and nobody showed up.
It's not the guy that we know on Facebook, Baker.
No.
No, it's not.
See, everybody that knows and is friends with him is going to pick up on what I just said and did.
So, but my thing with that is if you look at the whole idea of time travel and the multiverse, like there's an infinite amount of universes out there. There's an infinite amount of places exactly like this, okay? And then, completely opposite in all different degrees, okay? The chances, if they did figure out to where you could hop from universe or from universe to universe to universe, the
Sure.
chances that they would land on ours are 1 in infinite.
Yeah.
So then time travel is a bullshit technology then?
No, it
essentially,
could
because-
absolutely work. It's just that they might not have hit this universe.
Right.
And okay, Justin brought up a good point on Facebook. We asked this question. I don't know which one of you guys put the question on, but Justin answered. He feels that time travel could not go backwards in time past the point that it was created. So if it was created today, 100 years from now, you could go back as far as today.
Depends.
Would
on,
do you no good when you first create it. You're like, well,
Right.
this sucks. Maybe a week later you can get the lottery numbers, but you're not going back to see the pyramids and that kind of stuff.
Right.
Right. I guess. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jeff.
No, I was gonna say, Justin, Woody can back me up on this. There's a theory. We called it the donut theory, but a decade and a half later, some scientists came out with it and published it 2 years ago, and it basically states that time is not fluid, or it's not linear. It's fluid. Time is it's a construct that we understand as humans, but it doesn't function the way we think it does. Because if you look at other
This is so
planets-
Deep Space Nine.
Exactly. I mean, if you look at an event horizon, like a wormhole or a black hole, time changes. It's not the same as it is here. Or if you were if you were sent out to, say, Mars, and this is something that we might find out, in the next generation or so, is people that are sent to Mars are going to age at about, I think they said a third, not a third,
It's
7/8 of the same speed as people on Earth, right? Because
like Interstellar.
Exactly,
yeah,
Interstellar.
yeah, there you go.
I think that was the best representation of how time works.
They did a good
and
job.
Time travel works. Like if you're gonna do it, you've gotta. I think if you're gonna time travel, it's got to be some way like through a wormhole or an event horizon or something of that nature. And to Woody's point, you're not necessarily gonna end up where you think you're going to, like Lost in Space. You know, we're
that's the whole
aiming at
thing
one
with
spot.
that's the whole thing with like traveling through wormholes to travel in time. There's a
You know,
a fixed entry and exit point.
right.
So that I would personally think that would might be the only possible way.
Right.
Of
There was a wormhole in the Next Generation that was only fixed on one end, but then the other end flew around. Remember that? The Ferengi
Okay.
went through it, ended up in the Delta Quadrant.
So then, the you're such a dork. So then
They ran into him again in Voyager. Spoiler alert.
They did.
the problem with time travel is then it's not something like on Back to the Future, the whole premise of that movie,
Right.
where you're setting it up and going back to revisit something.
Yeah.
So my fantasy of time travel has always been, well, I'd go back in time and I would bet the numbers and all these sporting events
You're
and stuff
Biff.
and make millions upon millions of dollars. I would be Biff, or Griff. But my thing would be then, so you're saying that time travel would not be controlled whatsoever unless you knew the specific mathematics of where you wanted to go. Because you would have to factor in the expansion of the universe, how much that expansion is relevant to the time.
I would feel like Back to the Future, you'd get the fire tire tracks, and then you'd be in space.
Right.
Yeah. And so you guys are saying then that time travel, essentially you would just send somebody and they'd be lost forever then.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to. Not only would you have to figure out how to send people through time, you'd also have to figure out how to send somebody into an exact location in space,
Right.
and figure out where the planet and where you want to be at is going to be
And
at.
where do you stop that math? Because everything in space is rotating and moving and expanding.
And not only that, but think about how fast. Okay, everything is moving and rotating and stuff like that. And then you have to match that speed, and then come to a complete stop. You know what I mean? It would almost be like a.
Yeah, but
So you're saying time travel essentially would be as simple as we're sending this person from one end of the room to the other. Is that what you're basically saying?
what do you mean?
Like you would molecularly break this person down and reform, but you could time travel to move somebody in the portion of a room, not so much the going back in time.
Even the portion of a room, like when your energy, you are moving. God, I wish I had the math in front of me right now about how fast we're moving right now. And I'm not talking about spinning on the Earth. I'm
Right.
talking about the Earth moving around the sun moving around in the galactic plane,
The Milky Way.
our whole galaxy moving within our super what is it, the super galactic
Cluster.
structure or whatever,
Right.
cluster, and then it goes bigger. I mean, it just keeps going and going and going. So like one little tiny quarter rotation probably is trillions of miles.
Right.
So then time travel is not essentially time travel. I think what we would master before we quote unquote master time travel is
Mapping.
more of a like in a military covert type style where you're going, all right, I'm going to send Jeff from the base that we have in the United States, and I'm going to send him to Afghanistan to take out an Afghani leader. I know what the longitude and latitude points are of that and how much time it would take physically for him to move as far as the speed of light or sound or whatever. Most likely it would be sound because those
You're
ways
talking
would be easier.
teleportation.
Right.
Yes, as opposed to actually quote unquote time travel.
Well, that's where your theory of time travel works better than anybody else's, George.
Right.
Because you're just sending you're just sending an information. You're sending
Instantaneous.
right, the speed of light, because you're sending light pulses. You're just sending that to somewhere that's going to rebuild the body. Okay, and that's like
Yes.
where Justin was talking about, where we won't have it until we have it. You know,
Right.
Like you won't see people before we had it because you can't rebuild that body. I honestly think
without the mechanism
Right.
to rebuild it.
so. As soon as we figure out transportation, like transporting, then maybe at that point we'll receive a signal from the future saying, "Hey, this guy wants to come back, and just here's his information. Build him up."
See, now Ron was asking about the goals of time travel and the dangers and the side effects. And I think the dangers and the side effects are the fact that you're probably going to rematerialize in space.
Yeah.
Can I
die.
use a DJ reference here to explain what I think we're all
Yeah.
getting to? And that's, look at Star Trek. All right, they have
Oh, yeah.
they have teleporter pods. In the beginning, you could only teleport from pod to pod because you had to have a sender and a receiver, and that's
Yeah.
where Justin is coming from with, you have to have the equipment to do it, and you can't go before that because you won't be able to. However,
Okay.
as they advance the technology, they can now do from pod to somewhere else, but they can't do it, or from somewhere else to a pod, but you have to have a pod. But eventually they get to the point where they can, I think
Go
Scotty comes up with it, you can go
point to
from
point.
anywhere to anywhere, but you've got to have the math to do it. You just have to have a machine available that can grab a person from somewhere and put them somewhere else.
Yeah, and you're
But
right. That is all math. 'Cause
And it's all the math. You got to build on it. So kind of like Ron saying, it's like the dangers are, well, you've got to be able to do it in order to figure out how to do it. So it's kind of a
Okay.
trial and error.
Right.
And then
But
this other question I didn't really understand.
well, okay. That's a guy I work with. His name is Tim. He's talking about it's. I think this is what he's talking about. Is it's more semantics. Like we're talking about time travel because we have a concept of time in our brains.
Yep.
We have a concept of past, present, and future. Where if you take that out, then time is it's irrelevant. The whole idea of time travel is irrelevant because there is no.
Oh, so it's fluid.
It's
would be
our
like-
our imagination is
Okay.
what is
Right.
our concept of time is what is
Yeah, because we basically arbitrarily took that there are 24 hours in a day. We
Yeah.
just calculated what the rotation of the Earth is from one point to another, But then I'll go back on that a day, essentially 24 hours in Canton, Ohio, is different than a day in Anchorage,
Cleveland.
Alaska.
In Cleveland.
Yeah.
I mean-
so it's an arbitrary number. What we would have to do is pretty much find the master time, okay, that before that, because every place that you're going, and I'm gonna blow your guys' fucking minds on this, all right? Every place that you're going, you would have to factor in what the actual specific time is, right exactly where you're standing, and what it is to where you're going. So going back in time is different because the Earth and everything else is a different size. It's a different land structure. If you believe in what is it, the
Continental drift.
Pangean? Yeah, the continental drift, the Pangean thing. Is that Pangea?
yeah
Is that
yeah.
Science and Tech 1 right here, guys? And so you basically
LD my
have to
ass.
factor all that. So I honestly think LD, I was just lazy. All right. So my thing would be time travel's shit. You're not going to be able to do it.
But
Yeah, because you're right. There's too much to factor. I like the pod thing where Justin was going, or if that's maybe where we interpreted Justin's question to be going. If once we create a pod, then we could always send people to that pod.
right.
But that's it. This H.G. Wells stuff isn't going to happen, like cranking a time machine and ending up in,
Right.
Okay, but think about this. Say they did create the pod, okay, and we can
shuffle pod.
we can shuffle people across the continents and whatnot. Anyways,
You don't want to transport in that.
Oh, hell no. It'll take weeks.
I think once we develop that just opens the floodgates to someone could send back information. Like, say in the future they figured out how to send that information back in time. Okay, to create somebody.
I think the moment you create a pod,
Right, that's what I'm saying. Our technology is going to jump to as far forward as we need it to go.
Wait, this
Yes.
is great, and I think this ties into everything we've already talked about. All right, so let's go back and say that your personality and your body is energy, right? We've got a pod. Well, do we need a pod to capture the person or send them, or do we need a pod? Can we do it like Quantum Leap, where we can just send your personality into the physical body of yourself, or something back?
I don't think so.
I'd say that's more realistic than sending a human back in time
to take over another body.
What if it's your body?
Not
only your own body.
Yeah, you're not taking over. You're just putting your new information into your old personality.
So what if then, and this may be where Jeff's going is, what if in the future, okay, like jumping to the future or something might be better, where you basically you're taking your energy and sending it to another vessel,
right,
which could be a cyborg type thing. Basically maybe people can construct humans, okay, but it's not the actual, because it's only your personality. It's not, it's your soul,
right,
or whatever,
soul,
your energy
yeah,
in that other body, and it doesn't necessarily have to be the same 5'5", 240 pounds of raw steel and sex appeal
correct
body that I have.
Yes.
Now, would you need to completely break that body apart in the original location? I mean, aren't you just like,
if you're quantum leaping it, no.
Right.
You'd go into a vegetative state like Sam.
Right.
Well, no. What I'm saying is nothing would happen to you. I mean,
He's
if they
stuck
could
in the
just,
machine.
they could, no, you wouldn't even be stuck in the machine. They could just scan your whole body and then send and duplicate that, and you would be two of the exact same. Or not only that, say they did have to break it down just to see where everything is and all that, they could just make two of you. Or they could send one back in time and then keep one in the present time. They could just make another one in the present time.
Then you get multiplicity.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. There are so many different versions of time travel that basically anything that we say and talk about is just scratching the itch of one little part of
Right.
it. I would almost say that, because Quantum Leap, he never knew where he was going to go into. He could be a female,
right?
Okay, at that
and he
point.
was always
You're
wondering if his
essentially-
next leap would be the leap home.
That's it. So then maybe I don't know. I think there are so many different versions of time travel, and I think what it ends up being is they're all bullshit.
Oh, I don't know.
You're basically stuck where you are.
I like
when
where
you are.
we think Justin's question was.
Right.
I like that. To build on that, I think the second we create a working pod, obviously it would have to be working. Even before we would send a test through, as long as it's a two-way, like a two-way radio, as long as it's working correctly, the second it works,
Somebody pops out.
somebody pops out.
I agree.
Somebody pops out. Because it would have been created, and then someone in the future is going to go, I'm coming out the second they...
Right. Like,
The
don't.
second
Just don't.
it's invented.
Destroy this machine.
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody's coming through, and it could be a good thing. Or it could be
Yeah.
very bad. Whoa, Jeff, do that again. Jeff
What?
just took a drink with his enhanced background. Check this out. The turtle alert.
It's like a time travel. He's basically that bike. His cup is that bike.
I
No,
just
hey,
rewatched the bike like 3
I
times.
keep getting fresh coffee from the future. It's never cold.
My take on the Russian bike video is that when we probably discussed this before. When he first takes off, when you first watch it, you're like, holy shit, what just happened? But when he first takes off, you can see a slight lean coming out, and
Yeah.
his foot is down, and he's pushing off.
Because
You
he's trying to
can
avoid
tell-
hitting that person.
No, you can
No.
tell his bike is positioned long ways behind the guy's body,
Right.
and the body is blocking it, and then the guy tries to like bring it out and do a smooth motion like he was riding all along. You can see the turn of the bike. You can clearly tell that's what he was doing.
But
you
if
gotta
I'm-
watch it about 3 times to get it. But
If I'm not mistaken, like, didn't they pan around that guy to begin with?
no.
Oh, I could have sworn I saw an extended version of that clip where they panned around that guy and there was nobody behind him.
I saw an
If you
extended
did,
version.
then it was a camera trick.
That's what I was saying was I saw the extended version too, and it kind of like starts from one side and comes across so you can see behind the person.
Right.
But it doesn't like go behind them. But there's trees and bushes and stuff back there. I honestly think that they got to the right point in front of that person, and that guy just popped the bike out where you couldn't see him and
All right,
drove out.
Well,
there are lots of people with stories about like phasing in and out of time. Like there was a lady that was driving with her daughter in the backseat of the car. She's driving along this road, and all of a sudden, it's like the 1900s. There's a lady with a baby carriage just like walking right in front of her car, and she screams and slams on the brakes, and and the lady looks at her, and then she kind of shakes her head, and everything's back to the way it was. Yeah,
Okay, now
the daughter says, "I remember this. I remember this happening. I was, she said she was very little, but she says she remembers what happened. She said that she could hear her mother, but she couldn't see her."
Okay, her mother had some kind of psychotic episode, and the daughter has an implanted memory at this point where she's heard this story so many times that she thinks she remembers it.
Okay, you can always come up with an excuse of why it didn't happen. Okay, but when you start talking about this, like that's not the only person this has happened to. There's been lots of people where they're like, "Hey, I walked into
There's
this."
lots of liars out there.
Well, I'm sure there are, and it's just like the whole Bigfoot thing. Like you have to sort through all the bullshit, and there's so much bullshit out there that it makes the real stuff makes you doubt all the real stuff.
That's with everything. That's with every single conspiracy theory. And I think the reason most of the bullshit is out there is most of it is bullshit. Like,
Right. But I don't know. I don't think that I don't know. I hate to say this, but like some of these people that you're talking to, I don't think that they're that creative. Like
Right.
like I mean, some of this stuff is it's insane. The going into driving down the road and seeing a bar that that's open. They
Right.
pull in for a drink. They go in and everybody's wearing stuff from the 60s. And they getting crazy looks at as they're sitting there and they have their drink and they leave. They go down the road. Then when they're coming back through the other way, the building's dilapidated. It hasn't been,
Right.
No one's been there for 30 years, kind of thing.
Can I give you a quick reason what might be happening there, which is a theory? Again, this goes back to our donut theory, and again,
it's a theme bar.
no, it's you gotta go back to time. The whole point of time being irrelevant. Yes, we're talking about time, Woody. Thank you. Time is irrelevant. It's not linear. So, at any point, you can kind of shift through time because everything happens simultaneously. Everything we've known, everything we've ever seen, all happens simultaneously. The Big Bang happens right now. Everything happens at the same time. So, deja vu, ghost encounters, Bigfoot, you're just seeing a different portion of what's happening in that plane of existence. So you kind of break through that plane instead of, it's not time travel, it's dimensional travel. It's like what you were saying about the infinite dimensions. We could kind of step into one and not know it, just step right back out and not even realize.
So you think that's what Bigfoot is?
I think that's what a lot of everything is. Like
UFOs and
UFOs. I think it's a lot of stuff that we're just overlapping at certain points and we don't realize what's going on.
So you're saying basically the relevance of time doesn't exist whatsoever.
Correct. There's
Hey,
no such thing.
No,
as time.
right?
That's kind of
There's no
Tim's
such thing as
point.
time. It's a label. We just put it on to measure something we don't understand to give it a linear fashion so that we could grasp.
Okay, so you're saying almost
Well-
like it's like distance and units of measure. They're all made up.
Well, they are, but you can actually quantify a distance of measure or
You can quantify
wait.
time.
You can't. No, you cannot.
Yes, you can.
Show me a minute.
I can.
Like, without looking at your watch that we've programmed to measure something, show it to me. Right? You can make up a quantity of a foot and show me a foot anywhere. This is a foot. This is measured a foot. You can't actually show someone time without.
No, I think
You
there
can.
are ways you could
can.
do it. You could say it takes 1
Okay.
second to say Mississippi.
It's
Okay.
it's more than that. What they the way they measure a second is it's point blah 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 amount of how far a light particle moves Yeah, like how long it takes a particle of light to move point so many
Right.
inches or whatever. I mean that's. Where
Oh,
they're
you're
coming up
right.
with the
You're
idea of
right.
time.
That is actually so. The speed of light is actually.
But what they figured out is I mean it's relative to where we are.
There you go. It's relative. Thank you. A distance is always the
All right.
same no matter where you're at. Time is relative. So the concept that we have of time is incorrect and fallible. So once you get past that precision of time and realize that it's not what we think
Wait,
it
so
is, then you start
is
getting
the
into...
Earth spinning faster at the equator or the pole?
Yes, because it's bigger.
Are you spinning faster? You're
Yeah, I think Jeff's right. So
It's
time.
spinning at the same RPMs, the distance
So
is covered.
time is
lower.
actually. It's so small. It's almost undetectable. But Jeff is, 40 some miles north of me.
Right.
So Jeff's time is actually moving faster.
slower.
No, faster.
Faster,
The
because I'm on a smaller
the
diameter.
slower,
You're
the faster I
closer
move,
to
the
the equator.
slower my time goes.
oh
Well, and actually, I guess the scary thing is, and I'm going to wrap this up here, because Jeff is technically, if he would look at you right now, you'd be upside down, DJ, because you're south of
Exactly.
me. All right, guys. So, I guess in conclusion, and we'll wrap this up. And first off, I would definitely want to thank Justin, Tim, and Ronald for jumping in and helping us with this topic. And we're going to start doing this more, where it's going to be. We're going to let people know what our topic is before the topic goes out. We're going to follow us on Facebook if you guys aren't on. Just look up, find us, the Shufflepod, and we're going to start communicating a little bit more because I really enjoyed the interaction
Do these
with,
guys know?
with the people.
Do people know that we do the whole YouTube thing and they can watch it live, or isn't it live, Jeff?
It's not live yet.
It's recorded.
It's recorded. Okay.
it's memorized.
So if they want to see it,
Which,
so
Oh God.
you have
so
to be
I
40
guess
to
in
get
conclusion,
Here we are.
I love it. All right, guys. So in conclusion, we asked the questions: is time made up? Does it exist? Or are we just too naive and uneducated to actually pick up and know the difference? I don't know. I don't know if we solved anything or if we did, but we asked a lot of questions. But thanks to everybody, especially once again, thanks to Justin Knapp, Tim Murphy, and Ronald Whitman for throwing out their nuances and everything else. And until next time, I guess we'll see everybody later.
See ya.
Peace.
See ya.